Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Broken Roads with me, Bring It On. Let's go talk to Angela's driver and also mark that quest as active. His brow furrows as he sees you coming. What now? A little birdie told me you're one of the governor's drivers. I'd like to ask you some questions about your job. Darn birdies. Yeah. I've driven for the governor and I'll answer your questions if you make it worth my time. Must be exciting being the governor's driver. Bet you get to transport all kinds of stuff. Yeah. Right. Look, mate, I don't know you. And I just knocked off, so I don't really feel like talking about work. Alright, let's talk to Hogan then. Or talk to Angela first. The two separate main quests. My concern is if I report this to Angela, then we won't be able to complete this one. I'm not sure if we have to take a side right now or not. But if I can, I'll just ask her about her driver and continue on my way. She pauses, giving the impression of a machine interrupted mid-task. You look like you have something urgent on your mind. What is it? Do you know a bloke called Ash? Apparently he works for you. Ashley was my driver. I don't care to elaborate beyond that. Jason the bank guard said you slipped lollies into his pocket. Can I have some? She stares at you for several seconds, processing what you've just said. Eventually she speaks. Her voice is cold as the midnight desert. Is your name Jason? For a handful of lollies, you can call me whatever you want. A smile tugs at her lips. I knew that from the moment we met, but I'm full up on charming buffoons for now. So now we can possibly ask Ash why he was relieved as Angela's driver. I knew a guy named Ashley one time, and he was massive. He was very much into bodybuilding. I hear you lost your job. That sucks. He sighs. Screw it. Yes, I lost my bloody job. I was one of the governor's drivers, and a bloody good one. No flies on me, mate. Couldn't catch me if you tried. Kept everyone safe too, mostly. He pauses to burp. So today I dropped, well, something off at the bank vault. I made a joke about the deposit to the guards, and one of Angela's aides must have heard me, because within 5 minutes, I've been crap canned. So what am I supposed to do? He puts his head in his hands. Haven't even told me wife and son yet. He emerges slowly from his misery and focuses on you with some difficulty. Mate, you don't seem like a bad sort. Grab me one last brewski before I go home to give my family the bad news. A strong one. Ask Holly for a Munter's Reserve. He looks up at you, bleary-eyed, his sour breath wafting towards you with each word. What do you say? I won't ask twice. All I've got left is me pride. Sure, I'll get you your fancy beer. Go on, ask Holly. She'll hook you up. And don't tell her it's for me. I've been cut off. He stares moodily at his rapidly emptying pint glass. I probably shouldn't. Welcome back, mate. Come to give the menu another go. I'd like a Munter's Reserve. She continues wiping the counter while she talks. Ashley's already tried to get me to give him a Munter's on credit. Not that he could afford it on what the governor's paying him. I don't care if it is his birthday. You'll have to pay up front, like everyone else. $80. Oh gosh, I'd rather not. Fair enough. It's not for everyone, the price or the taste. Better than Terps though. The guy in the bank vault mentioned mutants too. The guy in the... She trails off, and her face goes perfectly blank. I'm gonna pretend you never said that, and that I didn't hear it. For both our goods. Sorry, buddy, I'm not paying $80 for a drink. That is absurd. He eyes you skeptically. You better not be coming back empty-handed. Okay, you know what? I'm glad I didn't buy you a drink, you jerk. I'm gonna go talk to Hogan. Well, hold on. Maybe we can get more information out of him. I'm gonna do it for the sake of the quest. I hate doing it. But I'm second-guessing myself. $80, alright. Here you go. Don't drink it all at once now. Man, that set me back from getting one of those fancy hats. Alright, got your munters right here. Heck yeah, man. Pass the soul next to him. Now sit down. The spear doesn't have munt on the label for nothing. It's 10 times stronger than the red rue, and it tastes like it. So here's the deal. We go swig for swig. If I chunder first, I'll tell you what you want to know. Otherwise, you screw off. Okay, if you tell me what you dropped off in the vault. He raises his eyebrows. Fine. Can't lose my job twice. Plus, I can drink all night. Hope you've got a spare liver handy, mate. Yeah, let's get mad. You go fetch mad. Not right now, but I have one in mind. Okay if I come back in a sec. Cool, we get to bring our companions into it. That's awesome. Now, if only they followed us around town, too. Because it'd be great if we could use their skill checks for all the conversations we're having. Because I can't cover all the bases. Hey, she looks you up and down. You good? Can I borrow your liver? As long as you leave it in my body, sure. Hunters, eh? Alright. Old mate here wants me to drink you under the table, yeah? She turns to you. You're buying for me later, I take it. Fair deal. She bellies up to face Ash. The two of them go swig for swig, the glass is getting closer and closer to empty. Even before he takes his fourth swig, you can see he's been hit by the first, and you know the others aren't far from catching up. After the fifth swig, his face goes green. He carefully picks up a pint glass and bends over beside the table to hide his face and the glass from view. Then he does what can only be described as politely vomiting into the pint glass with obvious skill and practice. He resurfaces, burps unselfconsciously, wipes his mouth with the back of his hand. You win. Here's your stupid secret. You know that plane crash? Not everyone died. Survivors in the bank vault raving about Kalgoorlie and the wonders they've got. Insane, but the governor's got some plan for him apparently. And I'm done. He claps his hand over his mouth and staggers away. I could go another one. I'm sure you could. Alright. There's information we already had. But it was fun. What's a good word then? Did you dig up Angela's little secret? I hate this phrase, what's the good word? I had a sergeant I used to work with that would say that all the time, and I despise the man. For a multitude of reasons. He wasn't good at his job, he was lazy, he stole my cookies one time. Just a menace on society. I spoke to one of Angela's drivers. He told me there's a survivor from the plane crash in the vault. How could anyone survive falling out of the sky in a metal tube? He sucks the end of his mustache into his mouth, chews on it as he talks to himself. Alright, alright. This throws a spanner in the works. I can turn it to my advantage. Somehow. We need more info. A survivor, but from where? How? Why? He's getting more worked up the more he thinks about it. This is good, mate, but not incriminating. See what else you can find out for me. Ta. Alright, move on. I spoke to the survivor from the plane crash. He's from Kalgoorlie. Angela locked him in the bank. Not sure what her plans are for him. He stares at you wide-eyed. Kalgoorlie. Oh, that'll do. That'll do nicely. He shakes your hand. I won't forget my end of the bargain. When I'm governor, Brooklyn will be my top priority. You have my word as a Hogan. And don't forget about the fireworks. Metaphorically, that is. The election debate is about to start. Head to the gala to witness the show. Yes, it looks like we had to... It's possible we could have turned in the quest to Angela first for helping out around town. But I'm pretty sure we had to make a choice there. Connor McCabe. He's in the middle of an impassioned plea. It doesn't seem to be going well. Westonia itself is at stake. We need Merredin's help right now, or everyone there will die. As one of our closest allies in trade, of course we don't want Westonia to fall. You requested we send over 100 people to follow you into the flames. It's just not feasible. Even Malcolm would have difficulty justifying such a preposterous ask. Preposterous ask. The preposterous. A mix of this and prosperous. Especially when it would leave Merredin practically defenseless. Practically defenseless. I don't know what city Governor Smith is living in, but we here in Merredin know how to hold our own. A chorus of ragged cheers rises from the assembled crowd. If I was in charge, I'd send 200 people to help Westonia. And you wouldn't hear me whinging about a lack of manpower while those poor starving wretches are huddled outside our walls, begging for a chance to prove themselves. I'd bloody well let them in. Obviously this is all talk. I have a feeling that my group will be sent to Westonia. As she stares daggers at Hogan. Malcolm, do you think I enjoy turning people away? Do you think I do it for fun? She gives the crowd her best, can you believe this crap look. I keep others out so that our community remains fed and safe. So you keep your cushy home. She turns to Connor. I regret the situation we both find ourselves in. Deeply I do. But if Merredin offers aid, any at all, you have to meet me halfway here. Angela, I can't. He massages his temples. When he speaks, it's with a sense of wonder. I can't believe I wasted all this time away from my home, my family, all to try to get help from the saddest sack of crap in West Oss. He laughs weakly and spots you in the crowd. You see my side, don't you? You lost everything to those raiders. Help these so-called leaders to understand. Appeal to Hogan. Can't you do something for him? He strokes his chin. Well, I'm not the governor. Not yet. I said we can help our Westonian friends, not by pulling our guards from the walls in an untenable defense, but by bringing Westonia's people inside our walls. He holds up a hand to forestall the muttering of the crowd. We can't do it for free, but perhaps if they'd agree to a period of indentured servitude, like many of our own fine townsfolk have done, we could see our way to food and board for their people. He turns to Connor. We can drop contracts in the morning. Help us help you. He stares at Hogan for a moment, then looks around at the rest of the crowd. I can't believe this. He takes a step back. You enslave the unborn children of people who owe you a debt, and you want us to opt in. That's your offer of help. Hogan's face goes red, but his rebuttal is interrupted. You open your mouth, and I'll deck you. He points at you snarling. I don't give a crap if Merredin is in a rough spot. They've still got their big walls and their fancy homes. My people are going to die. I can't volunteer my caravan like that. I'm not in charge, Mick is. You have to prove the town will be better off with you than without you. That's all. He stares at you. What about our old folks? What about our babies? They've got no use to Merredin. You just let them die. He laughs. We're not that cruel, mate. We look out for them. Just means the rest of your community will need to work a little harder to make up the deficit. She holds up a hand, her expression strained. Slow down, please. I haven't endorsed Mr. Hogan's solution. We need to evaluate our resources whether they can bear the strain of adding Westonia's population to the mix. His laughter hurts your ears. So we're stuck between idealists who think death is freedom from tyranny, and money-grubbing jerks who want to profit off our misery. 100 years of mutual assistance, screwed away in 10 seconds. He clenches his fists. Your city's going to burn. You have no one but yourselves to blame. I am willing to hear your insults, but I won't let you threaten Meriden. She raises her hand, and her guards step forward. Step in to defend Connor. He grips your shoulder, hard. Don't. We can't do crap for Brookton's people from behind bars. Guards, please escort the Westonian elsewhere. He's free to leave the city, or find a gutter to pass out in, as long as it's not anywhere near me. The fight has all but left him, but he still musters the energy to laugh. I heard a lot about Meriden as a kid, you know. How it was this big, safe place where kids could run for ages and never reach the other side of town. He chuckles. But now I see Meriden for what it really is. A breeding ground for the most heartless, gutless wonders I've ever had the misfortune to meet. He gestures at the crowd, his face a rictus grin. One day I hope you're in my shoes, watching a bunch of show ponies parade around the yard while everything you care about burns to the ground. He looks around, making eye contact with as many people as he can. And when you are, I'll laugh. I'll laugh my butt off. Her shoulders visibly relax once Connor is out of sight. He addresses the crowd. I'm sorry you all had to see that. In future, I encourage Mr. McCabe to bring his complaints to me in private. She claps her hands, jerking a couple of the more sodden drunks awake. Now, let's give the people what they want. Malcolm, would you like to select the topic, or do you prefer first right of rebuttal? Topic. He points in the direction of in the direction Connor was led, his lips a thin line. That poor man's outburst is a direct result of you treating the Brookton survivors so favorably, while letting everyone else rot in the sun. We aren't planning on staying here forever. We just need Meriden's help to get back on our feet. And as I've said, I want to help Brookton's rebuilding efforts, but the people of Meriden have to come first. She lifts her head from where she's sitting at the bar. Which people, Angela? She interlaces her fingers. People who work hard for the benefit of the city have nothing to fear. Also, I was hoping that Hogan would be against the indentured servitude, but it seems too ingrained in the city's history. Maybe we can do something about it. Oh, the magician's here too. His words are so slurred together that you can't understand him. He lets out a dramatic sigh and repeats himself. I worked hard, and where did that get me, huh? He holds back a burp. Fired. That's where it got me. And you don't want me to be afraid of what comes next. He laughs hard and then long, then doubles over, groaning. She speaks gently, but her eyes reveal no trace of warmth. Ashley, you forced me to choose between you and your addiction. A man who drinks I can employ, but a drunk. She shakes her head, the image of wistful contrition. That's simply not a risk that anyone in my position can justify. He's been massaging his temples since Connor's departure. What is wrong with you people? All eyes turn to him. Westonia's screwed, with or without your help, and here you are, bickering like an old married couple who stayed together to raise the kids. A murmur of assent from the crowd surprises him as much as it does Angela and Hogan. His next words are almost a plea. We came to you for help. Don't tell me this is what you're doing instead. Nah, they're too busy kidnapping Kalgoorlie citizens. He smooths out his mustache with his fingers. I was waiting for the perfect moment to bring that up. Angela, please explain why you'd bring such a threat into our city. I recovered a survivor from the plane crash and have learned that he hails from Kalgoorlie. I've been speaking to him privately to learn of their plans and see if they know anything about the threats that currently face Westonia. He goes through several different expressions before he's able to speak, his skin tone changing from pale white to red to a sickly, haunted green. What were you thinking? How Crowley could obliterate us without a second thought. And he took one of them hostage. He sucks in a deep breath. We've got to find out what they want, and fast. Her laugh is hollow. You poor, narrow-minded buffoon. There are more things in heaven and earth. The prisoner has escaped. Hey, Angela. He opens his hand to reveal a small metal sphere. It's the one from Angela's collection, the one Measure was talking about. The Gadding Ball. This is for Westonia. Oh, he has actual magic. Wait, is that what that was?
Mick! Jess's voice rends the air a moment before all hell breaks loose. In the ensuing chaos, you hear her pitiful cry drowned out by screams and shouts as the terrified townsfolk flee the area. Mum! Sarah comes running, doctor's bag swinging wildly in her grip. She assesses the scene in an instant and grabs Jess in a quick hug. I'm here, sweetheart. Then she falls to her knees, working quickly but with steady hands to staunch the bleeding from Mick's head and ears. Alana arrives a moment later and stands off to the side, chewing on her thumbnail and throwing worried looks at her daughter. The radio at Sean's hip crackles to life. Outpost A to substation N. Who's firing off in restricted space? Over. There's a burst of static mixed with garbled words. Then the same voice wavers back in. Come get the bloody engineer then. I don't have time to nursemaid him. Julianne, out. The radio cuts off, leaving a ringing silence in its wake. We need to get him to the ambulance. Sarah gestures at John and Sean. Get the stretcher. We'll have to make 2 trips. She points at Adam with her thumb and goes back to stabilising Mick. Angela steps forward to speak, but Sarah silences her with a glare. Until this man's condition improves or he dies, you'll keep your tongue if you know what's good for you. She glances at DJ's horrified face. Governor. Angela bows her head and steps back next to Hogan, the two of them watching in silence while Mick's blood streams into the hungry soil. The morning dawns cold and still under a pall of otherworldly light. The sun, when it rises, struggles to break through the lambent haze that overlays the town, chasing at a low-lying mist with little enthusiasm. It feels like it should be impossible to breathe, yet air flows freely in and out of your lungs. Mick lies still as death, under Sarah's watchful eye as the camp slowly awakes and takes stock of this new reality, everyone moving with the same cautious silence, as if you've all been caught sneaking into a funeral. Even Angela and Hogan, when they arrive, speak in low voices, with frequent glances at the watery sun hanging just above the horizon.
I trust you all slept well. Mad snorts. Angela ignores her. We must discuss today how we plan to address this recent change in our circumstances. She turns to Sarah. Dr. Taylor, what is your prognosis for Mick and the... She pauses, eyes flickering towards the ambulance. Magician. She looks like she's still standing due to sheer willpower alone, but her voice is as strong as ever. Mick's got a brain bleed. Soft gasps and murmurs greet her words. I'm doing what I can, but it isn't much. There's no telling when he'll wake up, if he wakes up, or whether he'll retain any of his previous cognitive function. She lifts one slender shoulder with an air of apology. Your magician friend should be fine. No swelling or bruising that I can see. Seems like he just overexerted himself. We'll need a few days to recover, but he should be awake soon enough. Very well. We have to wait for answers. I understand. In the meantime, there's a matter of the escaped Kalgoorlie agent to address. Connor is being held inside the bank. I suggest he be your first port of call moving forward. Are you kidding? His words split open the hushed silence of the day. Mick is dying, and you want to talk about some bloke who you let escape. Yeah, I'm on Sean's side. You got some nerve, Angela, coming here, demanding favors, when Mick is only injured because of you. Crosses his arms and gives you a small, determined smile. She licks her lips, then puts the back of her hand to her mouth. When she lowers her arm, she's regained her composure. Keeping Scott Measure locked inside the bank vault was a tactical oversight. If the device he provided to Connor was any indication of Kalgoorlie's power, I keep forgetting that second L. Tactical oversight. Mate, it was bloody short-sighted. They could wipe us off the map in a split second. They knew we kidnapped and interrogated one of their own. Yeah, geez, Angela, what the heck were you thinking? I was thinking about what was best for my people. Sarah raises a finger to shush her, and surprisingly, Angela blushes a deep crimson. Sounds like you guys are in a real pickle. His voice trembles with exhaustion, but he seems determined to speak. Mick needs help first, though. I'm sure Dejet would have something in Corda to help him, somehow. He looks down at his hands, at the traces of Mick's blood under his fingernails that he hasn't quite been able to scrub away. Sarah said it herself. She's tapped out, and so am I. It's time to call in the big guns. Isn't there somewhere closer? I've heard something cross to some text still working from before. She looks at Sarah, who nods slowly. Could be worth a peek. We all just forgotten about Cole. She glares at everyone in turn. I love Mick like a dad, yeah? But Cole's been missing since the attack, and no one's done a thing to find him. He could be hurt, or dead in a ditch somewhere. If he is dead, I want us to have his stuff. She crosses her arms. Send someone else for the medicine. The little man needs us. I want to hear from him. It takes a moment for it to sink in that her immaculately painted fingernails pointed at you. The line of succession is clear. Mick brought Crocodile Don D to me as someone who could solve my problems and get Brooklyn the help it needs. Even if I don't agree with his methods, he's proven himself more than anyone else in this camp has thus far. Otherwise, I'll also accept the opinion of Dr. Taylor. Despite my desire to capture Scott Measure and bring him to justice for this vicious attack, Mick must be our first priority. Measure can wait. Hogan looks like he wants to speak, but he folds his arms instead. You said they'd have medicine to help Mick and Corda. He nods. I need to go with you, but they won't turn you away empty-handed. She crosses her arms. They better not. We don't have time to waste. Sarah, what do you think? Mick is my patient. She nods at DJ. I try Corda first. She turns to Ella, who's frowning. What Corda doesn't work. Southern Cross will be our second stop. Where would we find Scott Measure? DJ looks stricken. Angela breathes out as if a heavy weight has been lifted from her shoulders. You should look in Ardath. All the scum of Meriden washes up there sooner or later. We should at the very least bring him back here to remedy this unfortunate misunderstanding. What do we know about Cole? Just that he would have been in touch if he could have. She chews at her lip. If only we got the radio. She slaps her forehead with her palm. Engineer. She points at the walkie-talkie still clipped to Sean's belt. That Julianne chick said she had an engineer at Outpost A, wherever the heck that is. It's not much, but it's not nothing either. She looks up at the sky, squinting. Not a lot of A's around. Off the river's too far. Amory got swallowed by the desert. No one would call Ardath an outpost. Suddenly, she snaps her fingers. Alderside. Well, let's go, Elle. She grins at her sister. Saddle him up. Enough. Her words cut through the conversation. You've got a lot to be getting on with. I want this campsite as quiet as possible at all times until Mick recovers. Or he doesn't. Be careful, all of you. Alright, rest and wait. Resting allows your party to regain some health and recover from certain status effects. Some locations will charge you to rest, and the amount of health restored can vary. Resting passes 8 in-game hours. Waiting will pass however many hours it takes to change between day and night, but does not heal any HP. Some characters in quest events might only appear at night. And the overworld map. You now access the overworld map and begin exploring the Outback. Select the compass button or press O to open it. Oh, cool. We're finally getting into the open part of the game. Which means I should prepare for combat. More points into strength. More melee mastery. And 5 points here and 4 points here. Seems good to me. Alright, I'm going to call it here, and next time I guess we'll check in with everybody, but we'll be setting out in the near future. I failed the nature of government because I didn't report to What's-Her-Face. But I think we had to make a choice there anyway, and, well, it's possible that, I don't know. I think we could only do one of those quests, so I'm not too worried about it. So I do think the priority should be getting the medicine and involuntary bliss. We had 2 companions, well 3 companions, or 3 people saying that should be the priority. And Angela agreed that it was, DJ thinks it should be, and Sarah, obviously. And Mick, being in his current condition, is probably the most time-sensitive of the objectives. Yeah, we'll do that first. We'll also look at the map, and if we can stop by other points of interest on our way to these other objectives, then obviously we will. But either way, for now, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.